Hello everybody, welcome back to my little corner of the internet where I will talk about stories of my life, my work both as a comic book author and translator, my cats Hey Hey and Serengeti, and the occasional movie, book or TV series review and recommendations, as well as some rants if the feeling hits. This time, and by some demand on my Facebook and my Patreon, links down below, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my San Diego's Nemesis, as well as me being at Delphos the very first time I got to go to Comic-Con. So without further ado, let's talk about my worst enemy in San Diego. Just a word of warning, I am going to mention a couple of places by name and gush about them. It is not a paid advertisement. I am pretty sure they don't even know I am doing this video or will ever watch it, so everything I say comes from my heart. The very first time I went to San Diego was in 2003. This was long before, well, not long before, about 2 years before it really exploded and it became impossible to get tickets, well, badges, pretty much an hour after the sales opened. So I was able to do all my planning to go about 4 months before the convention, which nowadays sounds like crazy talk because you need to be planning long in advance. Anyway, because I was going as press and my editorial, in those days Edito Poster, that now is named Vanguardia Editores, and I no longer work there, but back then they were under the direction of Mr. Arnulfo Flores, my hero rest in power, who was the best editor ever. I will have long stories to tell about him. They were paying my travel expenses, and they had given me a budget for food, the place I was going to stay at, plane tickets, and buying some particular prizes for the readers of the magazine that I was going to cover the Comic-Con for. Yes, they sent one little lone reporter to cover the whole Comic-Con, and that was one of the biggest problems. But that's not the story about this time. Anyway, the thing is that the budget for the prizes was one, and the budget for everything else was another. And they told me that whatever extra was left from said budget for the food and all that was for me to spend in whatever I wanted, which in my brain turned into, if I save in everything, especially in food, because come on, I have done conventions with nothing more than breakfast and dinner, so I can totally do this. Meant to save as much as possible. And one of the ways I decided to save was by staying at a hostel instead of in a hotel. Even back then, finding hotels was not exactly easy. And I had found a hotel quite away from Mission Valley, pretty cheap, but the transport from that little hotel to the convention center was really long. However, I found this yacht hostel, the USA Hostel as it was named back then, in Fifth Avenue, right between F and G Street in the Gaslight Quarter, which meant it was literally 6 blocks away from the convention center. And in the map that looked like a flat surface, so I thought, hey, I can totally walk 6 blocks every morning and 6 blocks back every night. How naive I was. And then I reserved my bed and off I went. By the way, as much as I am going to talk about this, I love that place. The USA Hostel, in my opinion, it's one of the best places to stay in San Diego if you do not need a full hotel room for yourself. They are incredibly friendly. They have changed staff and ownership since then. I am not sure how it's under the new ownership because the change happened right before the play. But back then it was gorgeous. It was perfect. So also in the attempt of saving money, I decided to go to Tijuana instead of flying directly to San Diego because there was a big money difference between the two. But this was before the border bridge existed, the CBX. So you had to go from the airport to San Isidro, cross the border on foot, and then get whatever from San Isidro to San Diego and then find wherever you were staying. That was not very well planned on my part the first time, because I had no idea of all that until literally I came down from the plane and discovered that the border was not near the airport. I took a Greyhound bus, which promised to take me to San Diego, except that they made us get down at San Isidro in the border so we could cross and then take another bus from Greyhound without charging me extra all the way to San Diego proper. As I said, all of this was completely new for me. And I was carrying my trusty travel bag, which is, I would say it's a model gym bag, only a little bit too big to be called a gym bag, unless you are carrying half the gym with you. I call her lovingly Attila. She has been my trusted convention bag ever since the 2000s. Everything fits in her. Everything. I can fit my whole artist alley table in her. Of course, that year I was not doing the artist alley table on Comic-Con. I was just going express. And I had put another bag inside her because everybody told me that it was better to take a second bag, an empty bag with you when you went to San Diego, even if you didn't have much money to buy, because you would end up with a lot of freebies. And that was completely and absolutely true. I ended up with a ton of freebies. Crossing the border with Attila was not fun, but doable under the sun. Finding the bus station was not as easy, and right then and there I thought, I should have taken the trolley, because apparently the trolley would leave me right in front of the convention center and Fifth Avenue, which was right where I wanted to be, but I had paid for my bus ticket already, and that year I was being really stingy with money. So I found the bus station, I loaded Attila into it, and off we went. The bus station was 1.5 kilometers away from the hostel, uphill, and that's when I started to think that I had not planned everything correctly. Because Attila was not that heavy yet, but this was under the San Diego sun in summer, and I was a little bit lost. That was the only year I was lost in San Diego. Ever since then, I have pretty much managed not to get lost in San Diego, even if I want to get lost in San Diego. But you see, the thing is that the US hostel is between two restaurants. The Osteria Panepino, that I have to say smells good, but I have never eaten there. And the incredible, amazing, wonderful, perfect Astis Ristorante. I am serious, that place is my favorite Italian restaurant, if not my favorite restaurant in the whole of San Diego. To the point that every single day of Comic-Con I have dinner at the Astis, because the food is amazing, the staff is so friendly that I feel like I am just at home eating with friends and not at a restaurant. They are great, they are amazing. But that year I didn't know about that, and that year I didn't, yes, hey. That year I didn't eat there because, as I said, I was being very stingy with the money for food. The thing is, the hostel is right between these two restaurants. And when I say right between, I mean right between. It's a little tiny purple door between two big places with awnings. So, and a little bit of outside dinner. So it's very easy to miss because it's only the door. There is no windows, there is no signs. Well, there is a sign on top of the door. But if you miss the door, you are going to miss the sign. Because it is, the two restaurants make this little hallway with their outside dining place to the door. So if you are not paying attention, it's very easy to think that that division between, that little space between the two restaurants is a column or something, so they are not stuck together. But no, it's a door, a tiny little purple door. So after my second pass in front of the door. I finally found it, and I rang the bell and said that I had a reservation, so they busted me open, and that's when I met my nemesis. Because you see, the fact that the hostel is between those two restaurants also means that there is no space for a lobby in the first floor, in the ground floor. So the very first thing you see when you open that tiny purple door are stairs. Very steep stairs. Now, I have counted the steps on a picture I have, and apparently there are only 28 steps, but they feel like 150 after you have been walking 1.5 kilometers uphill in the San Diego heat with a heavy bag behind you that refuses to roll correctly because Attila has wheels, but it was not designed to be a travel bag. So yeah, Attila and I have issues. One day I will show you a picture of Attila because I do not have pictures of Attila right now. So, stairs. I looked at the stairs. I looked at Attila. I looked again at the stairs, took a deep breath, and started climbing, promising myself with every single step that I took that I would never, ever stay there again because those damn stairs. I finally got up, and that year I was lucky because the second thing that I saw, well, the third thing I saw, I will go back to the second thing that I saw in a second, was more stairs. This time, twisting stairs to get to the second floor where I could see that the doors for the rooms were. And yes, at that moment, my very fat self was starting to wonder what the effing F was I thinking? Why I had decided to do this to myself. Fortunately, that year, my room was in the first floor, well, in the second floor, not in the third one, which will be the first floor of the hostel. This is complicated. So I did not have to climb more stairs. That changed the next few years because you see, yes, I promised myself I was not going to go through the stairs again. Except that by the end of the con, I had had so much fun and I had had such a great experience with the staff and the people staying there that I immediately made my reservation for next year as I was checking out. And I have done the same thing every single year since then. If I go to San Diego, I stay at the USA hostels, or at least until the play happened. They changed owners, and even then I have my reservation for the USA hostel for 2022 because hope springs eternal, right guys? Delta and Lambda are not going to stop me, I hope. Please, please, please vaccinate, wear masks, keep social distancing. I need to go back to San Diego Comic-con. Anyway, so every year I tell myself, this is the year I am going to get a place with an elevator. And every year, I end up back at the USA hostel on that first day, now having get from the airport to the hostel in an Uber, because now I am not as stingy with money as I used to be, at least not for transport and food. And I see those damn stairs. And up I go again. Although nowadays, especially coming up and down, there is someone on staff who will help me, or a friend, Mitch Hyman. I am so sorry that in 2019 you almost broke your back carrying Attila up the stairs. She was quite heavy because that year she did carry my whole artist alley route within it. So yeah, and every year I say I'm going to prepare, I'm going to do exercise, I'm going to get fit for those stairs. Because now, those stairs and I have a love-hate relationship. They are my nemesis. As I said in the title of the video, they are my San Diego worst enemy. Because I know they are going to be there. And I have had friends who are fit, who are in shape, who tell me that they also hate those stairs. Because you see, in the morning of Comic-Con, early in the morning, when you have breakfast at the hostel, which is delicious, they let you do your own pancakes, and oh my god, full pancake breakfast. How can you say no to that? well, easy if you are going to go to the chocolate. It's a crepe restaurant 3 blocks down from G Street, and oh my god, delicious place also, incredible service. Their salty crepes are to die for. You can tell that I do like San Diego. At least that street, which is what I know the best. Again, back that year, I was not eating anywhere except the hostel and the Sara Lee cookies at the convention center because I wanted to save money, and that was a really, really bad idea. I will tell you about that bad idea in another occasion. So, after you have breakfast, you go down the stairs, but going down the stairs is easy. And then you have to walk those 6 blocks downhill. So that's even easier, and you are getting excited because yay, Comic-Con, and all the things that you are going to see in the sales floor, and the panels, and the celebrities, and the comic book artists, and the artist alley, and the crowds, and the lines, and the lines, and the other lines, and the walking, 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 because if there is something you are going to do at Comic-Con is walking. So at the end of the day, those 6 blocks uphill are dead. And then the stairs. So yeah, I can't tell you how much I hate those stairs. But at the same time, I love them because their simple presence means that now that I am not saving money for food every single second, and I have a set budget for food, I can eat at Asti's every single day of the week I stay there and not gain weight because I am going to have to go up and down those stairs. And I have this fantasy that one day I am going to put some wood boards on those stairs, make a slide, and put a tila completely filled with all my artist alley and all my things that I bought. Of course, very well packed with a lot of bubble plastic because what's next? And I'm going to ask someone to open the tiny purple door so that it has a complete free range. And I am going to put a GoPro on it, and I am going to kick Attila down the stairs and see how far she goes. My friend Melissa says that she bets it's going to go all the way across the street and crash the building next door open. And I think she's right, but no one wants to let me kick Attila down the stairs. Every single time I check out at the hostel and the staff looks at me and sees my dark, deep intentions, they offer to put down Attila for me, or if not, one of the other people staying there, because seriously, the people at the USA hostel, friendliest people in San Diego after the staff of the Astis. So yeah, that's a story about my my greatest enemy and greatest love at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, you may be wondering what was the second thing that I saw at the hostel that made me pause. And that was a sign on top of the stairs. Yes, those damn stairs. That read, "Convention goers not allowed," because it was a backpacking hostel. And that first convention, when I was a newbie rookie and I didn't know anything, I was terrified that it meant convention goers to Comic-Con. You know, no nerds allowed. It was about 3 hours later when I found out that 50% of the people staying at the hostel were congoers. Some of them went on to become big names after good portfolio reviews. And no, I am not going to name drop them, not this time. And nowadays, it's about 99% of the people in the hostel in those dates are going to Comic-Con. So yeah, but back then, for those first 3 hours, I was terrified that they were going to tell me to go somewhere else, and I had no idea where to find another room, bed, something to stay for Comic-Con. I have more stories about my hostel stays. Some of them very fun, I think. You will find out later in another videos, but that was the very first time. And if you go to San Diego for Comic-Con or for the SAM Symposium, which happens in the Comic-Con Museum, or for anything really that is not a convention for an MLM or something like that, because those convention goers are the ones that were not allowed, stay at the USA hostel for the experience at least once. It's amazing. It really is. And eat at the Astis. Again, not paid promotion, I swear. It's just that I really, really, really love them. Also eat at the Chocolaterie. Chocolate Creperie. Very good too. No more commercials, I swear. But they are not commercials. They are honest to God recommendations because those places have been amazing to me and my friends. So, little payback if any of you ever wants to go there. I want to thank my dear patrons, Mitch Hyman, Elaine Ho, and Jessica, as well as my first supporter, Tania Pineda. I also want to remind you that if you want to support this and my other projects and get your name mentioned here, you can do so at patreon.com/Adalisa, with a link on description, as I know my name can be hard to spell, and with just $1 a month, you will always be thanked in my videos, as well as get access to a ton of art and the videos before anyone else. If you can't support me this way, I also accept likes, subscriptions to the channel, comments so the algorithm has engagement, and of course, you sharing the links. I will also welcome all your questions, comments, and suggestions in the comments below, and I will see you next time as I keep drawing and ranting about everything that comes to my mind. Bye-bye!